What's up? I'm back for computer science. I don't want to say that lab was boring today, but because I don't want to be negative, but it's kind of boring. Uh, Basically, we used a bunch of nested if else or if elif else statements in order to basically present a menu, a dynamic menu that's like, here is what type of cuisine would you like? You choose the cuisine, then it's like, well, from this cuisine that you chose, what type of meat do you want? Then you choose your meat, and then you're like, what type of dish do I want? So just a bunch of nested if else statements essentially. So for today, I'm going to jump back in, finish up these programs that I got to finish up for that are due tonight, and go from there. So I'll talk to you in a bit. Actually, we started reading lecture 10 yesterday, so let's recall what I was learning. Precedence, okay. Comparing data types, okay. Those are the two things. Comparing data types. We've got you can compare strings, and the computer will turn it into ASCII, Unicode essentially to compare. I'm not exactly sure if strings, if it's like less than or equal or less than or greater than, if the first are the same, if that's false, or if it goes to check the uh, next letter or character. I know for list and tuples, if it's less than or greater than, I think it checks the first if they're the same, and then it goes to the next. So I think, but I know you can compare like all the typical. You can compare strings, um, strings, integers, floats, lists, tuples. You don't want to use equality or inequality operators for floats because it's just the way that they're uh, inaccurately represented by the computer sometimes, or in the program. Dictionaries, you compare for two dictionaries to be equal, you've got to have all the same entries essentially, or items, and each item has to be the exact same. So the same number of items and the same number, or in each place, like is the same. Like each corresponding space is the same, or item. Same with strings. You can have the same number of characters, but also each character in each slot corresponding to each other has to be the same. Probably the same with lists. Same with tuples. Um, Precedence, first it's parentheses, then it's arithmetic, then it's relational and equality operators, and then it's logical not, then it's logical and then it's logical or. I think that's most of what we did yesterday. Okay. Comparing data types and common errors, comparing integers and strings and floating point types. If two things can't be compared, then it's a type error. Otherwise, I got everything from yesterday. So let's go ahead and jump back into those programs that I was talking about. So I'll be back in a bit to recall what I learned. All right, so we finished that program. What it did was take a input, musical frequency input, and calculate the next three keys up, and output all four keys. So if you said 440, which is an A, I don't know if I think it's maybe around a middle A. The way you calculate a semitone apparently is it's the original frequency times r to the power of n, and r is 2 to the power of 12, and n is how many keys or semitones it is away. So just interesting there. I went to Canvas, caught up on all my grades and announcements. We have the quiz that is due Saturday. That's out now. We can take that whenever. It's kind of weird. It's Respondus Lockdown browser, but it's also Open Note. So it's like, but the textbook's online, so you have to have multiple devices. But you can't use LLMs. So I think I'm just gonna take it without anything. I'm just gonna, whatever the grade I get is the grade I get. I think using your brain and trying and failing or maybe missing some answers, it's going to lead to more learning than using open notes. I think open notes is stupid. What's the point of giving an open note online quiz at this point in 2025? You can pass a class by learning nothing. So really devalues it what a degree and what a passing grade and what an A means. But hey, man, is what it is. Then I jumped back in and started the textbook that only got through one little participation module about how you can think of the precedence rules as like a tree building up. So if you have an expression with a bunch of different operands and operators, you can be like, these two go up, these two next. Okay, then the next level, these two mean this, true, true, false, true, and then you get up and the last one is, logical or, and then it's logical and, then it's logical not. Then below that is relational inequality operators moving from left to right, and then it's arithmetic, and then it's parentheses. So that's it for now. I'll be back later. We're going to just keep doing more lecture stuff today because I'll save the quiz for tomorrow when I got both sessions available in case I have to take more than like 30 minutes-ish for the quiz. So talk to you in a bit. Welcome back to computer science. So I'm going to continue into lecture 10. And yeah, I'll be back to recall what I've learned after that. So talk to you in a bit. All right, guys, we finished up the precedence unit, and then we started the next unit, which is on conditional expressions. Conditional expressions essentially are the form of like expression 1, if, parentheses, condition, else, expression 2. And essentially the condition is evaluated if it's true. The first expression is evaluated if the condition is false. The second condition is valued. This is a conditional expression. Best practice is to only use this for assignment statements. And yeah, I think that was basically it for that whole unit. We finished that unit. We're finished with lecture 10. The next unit or next lecture is going to be on loops. Looks like while loops. But we're well ahead of schedule now. So I started working on this little additional optional program that so far we're working on getting input for wall height, wall width, and then something along those lines. We're going to calculate the area and then the paint cost, including taxes, and output that. So there's 3 operands in a conditional expression: operand if, operand else, operand. So these are also known as ternary expressions. Yeah. All right. Right, and for precedence, it's best practice to make explicit the precedence or order of evaluation using parentheses. So that's it for today. Another successful day. So talk to you tomorrow. We're going to be doing the exam first quiz for this course. So talk to you tomorrow. See ya.